Remember during the WNBA season? Oh my gosh, all the ratings, the record ratings, blah, 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 blah. But what did we say continuously here on this channel? Yeah, record ratings. Of course you guys are gonna have record ratings. Nielsen changed how they count numbers. Of course their ratings are going to be more. It would be kind of embarrassing if they were that much less. Well, Sustainable, Unrivaled, their numbers came out and they are less.
For months, everything looked flawless on paper, until the numbers started twitching. That's when the cheering got louder, the language got fuzzier, and suddenly a whole new success metric appeared out of nowhere. Convenient, right? Now there's a pause nobody wants to talk about. And it's worth asking, when a league rewrites the rules of measurement mid-game, what are they trying to hide? What truths are slipping past while everyone claps and nods? The math doesn't lie, the spin does. And if you're paying attention, you'll see exactly where the story stops making sense.
Unrivaled could be seeing its final days as Paige, Beckers, and Gang could not save the viewership from tanking. What does this mean for the WNBA when they make their return back to TV? We finna talk about it all. I told you guys a couple months ago that the views was going down on the channel. Like, the WNBA content wasn't looking too good. I was one of the first people to say that about the whole genre itself. Told y'all we was gonna be making big time changes on the channel. Now I say that to say this. Now, there has been news to come out about Unrivaled viewership been down nearly 70%.
They promised Unrivaled would be unstoppable, the crown jewel of women's basketball, a league that could bend trends, grow fans overnight, and somehow convince investors to keep pumping millions and while players hustled up and down shiny floors.
They say. Unrivaled is sustainable. They say. They say. Ratings have come out for Unrivaled, and folks, if I was to say fall off a cliff, if I was to say significant drop off, I would be underselling how underperforming day one of Unrivaled really was.
They swore it, they promised it, and they said it with that smug confidence that makes you reach for the fine print. Because if this was truly sustainable, why did Season 2's opener look like a ghost town with tumbleweeds rolling across the court?
So the first set of Unrivaled ratings are in, and it's been kind of grim. And by kind of grim, I mean really, really grim. If you are Unrivaled, this is, if these are your ratings every single week on True TV, it's not the biggest disaster in the world, because by the looks of things, these True TV ratings were similar enough to what they were a year ago. Similar enough to what they were a year ago.
The ratings are in, and disappointing doesn't even scratch the surface. These numbers didn't just dip, they nosedived, took a detour through the basement, and finally checked into the dumpster labeled "We tried," kind of.
Cracking hella views to begin with. They wasn't even getting hella views at all last year. Now this year, their views is down by nearly 70%. This is very bad. Now, towards the decline of the WNBA season, towards the end of the season, we start seeing the WNBA kind of fudge the numbers, taking into account group party watch, well, basically watch party viewerships, counting those into, you know, effect like bars and stuff like that.
Let's break it down for anyone who missed the memo. Season 1 came out swinging. Record ratings, banners waving. Analysts crowning women's basketball as unstoppable, untouchable, the future of the sport. Everything looked brighter than a halftime light show. Only problem? Those record ratings were a little too perfect. Nielsen had tweaked their methodology. Suddenly, numbers magically inflated, everyone looked like a superstar, and momentum looked bigger than it actually was. It's like buying shoes 3 sizes too big and claiming they're custom fit. Impressive on Instagram, useless in real life. Fast forward to Season 2. Nearly 140,000 fewer viewers tuned in on Monday nights. Oh, momentum? Just a fancy word for, you got lucky last year. Afternoon games? Even worse. 107,000 viewers. Basically a whisper saying, did anyone actually know these games were happening? Spoiler, most didn't. Here's the hard truth. You can have the best players in the world, but if nobody knows the game exists, all the talent in the universe won't save your ratings.
interest in pretend basketball. I have been telling you guys for years, as the mainstream media has intentionally lied to us. These elite athletes are amazing! This is the best basketball in the world! Woohoo! Yes, yes, yes! We have been talking about this here on the channel for years. The so-called growth in women's basketball is an illusion.
The breakdown gets even uglier when you look at individual games. The Breeze Phantom? 40,000 viewers on TNT. The Lunar Owls? 30,000 on TNT. Plus another 20,000 on True TV. Combine them, and one game barely cracked 50,000 in the prized 18 to 49 demo. For context, last year, comparable matchups were hitting 90,000 to 100,000 on TNT alone, before factoring in every other network. In less than a year, Unrivaled went from rising star to a cautionary tale about how fast hype vanishes when reality shows up. Those executives counting on big sponsorships or planning lavish marketing budgets. Yeah, their spreadsheets now look like a viral roast tweet. Prime time is shrinking. Afternoon games are ghost towns. And overall viewership? Way below expectations.
The fact that the Rose and Lunar Owls on the primetime slot on TNT had, I don't think this is 40,000 viewers, because I think this is the NA is the actual viewers. I think this is like the ratings numbers. I think this is in and around 100,000 viewers, which isn't good. Last year it was, am I right in saying last year at 1.0? No, last year was 0.1.
The reality? It's brutal. Like watching a slow-motion faceplant on live TV. Back to earth. Back to gravity. Back to the unavoidable truth. No amount of sustainable branding can hide the fact that barely anyone is tuning in. Part of the problem? Promotion. Or more accurately, the absence of it. Season 1 rode a tidal wave of social media hype, strategic marketing, and the illusion of a can't-miss event. Season 2? It landed like a whisper in a hurricane. Fans weren't reminded, nudged, or even vaguely alerted. Some might even argue the league forgot to tell anyone it existed. And then there's the rating system itself, the supposed solution. Nielsen is rolling out a big data plus panel approach by the end of 2025, combining traditional panel tracking with smart TV streaming numbers, third-party data, and basically everything they can get their hands on. For most sports, this inflates numbers, makes underperforming events look massive, and gives networks shiny stats to impress advertisers. But here, even the upgraded system can't paper over an empty arena.
The early Unrivaled TV numbers are not good for season 2, that is, which is certainly no cause for celebration, but is cause for concern. When I say the first part, it's because I guarantee you there are going to be a lot of people racing to like rub it in and do like a and I'm rooting for Unrivaled success. I like the idea, the concept, the mission statement, and all of those things, but you also have to deal with the reality of a situation.
Even with all the fancy upgrades on the horizon, Unrivaled's viewership barely budged. Smart TVs, big data, expanded panels. None of it could rescue a league that's effectively lost the audience it claimed was the backbone of its sustainable promise. The irony? Delicious. Here's a league launched as innovative, forward-thinking, and built to last, yet it can't even sustain viewers for its headline games. The numbers don't lie. They tell a story of overconfidence, sloppy promotion, and a fan base that either moved on or didn't even know a sequel existed. Investors, the lifeblood of any new league, are probably rethinking their positions right about now. The players are talented, skilled, and competitive. But sports entertainment isn't just talent. It's packaging, promotion, and audience awareness. Without fans showing up in meaningful numbers, all that skill becomes a fancy display in a mostly empty stadium. It's like serving a 5-star gourmet meal to a dining room full of ghosts. Tasty? Sure. Sustainable? Not if nobody's here to eat.